Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising. I'm in Taos, New Mexico. I arrived yesterday afternoon. We have a course here in Taos through Sunday with Bertie Jaworski on remote viewing and extraterrestrial contact. This is our first in-person course in our extraterrestrial studies department at Ubiquity University, which is being developed in a full partnership with transdimensional mapping that was founded by Bertie Jaworski. And last night at our opening session, I had the pleasure of meeting her operations team because Bertie does a lot of teaching on remote viewing. She's considered one of the world's great remote viewers. She has developed techniques that are taking remote viewing to the next level of both popularity and efficacy. People showed up at our course from all kinds of interesting places. Everyone was very intent on learning more, and this evening and tomorrow evening we'll be going out into the desert to see if we can establish some contact. And Taos, New Mexico is considered one of the hot spots for extraterrestrial activity. It's deep in the heart of Indian country, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spot. It's about 7,000 feet in elevation. So the temperatures are cold at night and crisp during the day. The air is fresh and the wildlife is abundant, and it is very good to be here. We have about 35 people all together in our group. So I just wanted to say that I'm here in Taos with a wonderful group of people, all very eager to deepen their awareness of remote viewing and to establish human contact in our time with extraterrestrial beings. Today, I want to talk about the State of the World Forum coming up in December, because I think, as I've indicated on a number of occasions, we are designing an event which will also be an experience that will be unprecedented in the annals of human history. And I say that advisedly. We're posing a question that, as far as any of us know, has never really been asked before. And the question is along the following lines. How should humanity at this time elevate its consciousness so that it can creatively respond to what we're calling the Four Noble Truths of our time? Number one, we are confronted by accelerating global planetary collapse. Number two, we are confronted by escalating global and social instability and turbulence at virtually every level of human society globally. Number three, we have launched exponential artificial intelligence. And number four, we are discovering that extraterrestrial beings are here on Earth. These four truths characterize the fundamental reality of the human community, the human family in our time. And I'd like to spend a couple of minutes on each of them and then frame how we're going to be bringing them together at the State of the World Forum, December 14th through 18th at the Omni Shoreham Hotel in Washington, D.C., because we hope every single one of you will be there for reasons that I will now explain. Let's start with the first of the noble truths. And when we talk about noble truths, obviously that pertains to the Four Noble Truths that the Buddha enunciated 2,500 years ago in Nepal, where at that time he characterized certain realities that seemed to him and seemed to people for the last 2,500 years to be incredibly true for everyone everywhere, without exception. Life is suffering. There are ways to ameliorate human suffering. Nirvana is a reality that can be achieved. And that if one follows the Eightfold Path, one creates the pathway of enlightenment. It was true 2,500 years ago, and it's true today. So it is in that spirit that we are enunciating what we believe to be the Four Noble Truths of our time that apply to everybody, everywhere, independent of culture, creed, race, wealth, class, disposition of character. They're just simply true. And the first and most fundamental of these truths is that we are facing accelerating planetary ecological collapse. We've spoken about this many times on Humanity Rising. All of us know that the weather is no longer predictable. We're facing escalating extreme weather events. All the tipping points now, with virtually no exceptions around the world, have been tipped and are now essentially irretrievable. Perhaps the most fundamental one, that we are now 1.5 degrees centigrade higher than pre-industrial levels, when scientists have been telling us for decades that we can't go above 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial level, because that's when climate change spins out of control. And for the second year in a row, we've hit the 1.5, and we are now going beyond that. And we're in, I believe it is the 11th or 12th record-setting year for heat around our planet that is wreaking havoc in our oceans, on our land. Upwards of 1 million species are endangered, with hundreds of species going extinct every 24 hours. And our governments are doing nothing. Literally. The Conference of Parties that convene every year under the auspices of the United Nations, in the last several years, the conference chairmen have been the oil ministers of the respective countries. And that's going to be the case this year. It's extraordinary. the lack of regard on the part of our human community and our governments to do anything to remedy the climate crisis, when the solutions have been around for as long as we've known about climate change, but we refuse to implement them because our fossil fuel industries and related industries, mostly in the military industrial complex, have this insatiable greed for oil. That's what makes our world go round. And we're destroying ourselves. And we all know that. And this gives rise to the second of the noble truths. And that is that at every level around the globe, doesn't matter where you're a native tribe in the Amazon, or you're in Beijing, or you're an Eskimo in Alaska, or you're living in Detroit, or Rio de Janeiro, Berlin, or New Delhi, people are experiencing escalating stress. Chaos reigns, and the center no longer holds. We're threatening each other with thermonuclear weapons. We're watching genocide by the Israelis in Palestine and are essentially doing nothing. We see the corruption, the deterioration in health around the world at every level. Think of your own life. Think of the context of your community. Think of what Donald Trump, as president of the United States, is doing to America, and how his tariff policies reverberating around the world as he supports the genocide in Gaza. All that is an indicator that the human race is not doing very well. And simultaneously, while we're experiencing almost complete dysfunction at the human level, we've just unleashed artificial intelligence. And I want people to think about this for a moment. Human intelligence has evolved for millions and millions of years, so it's refined. We have capacities in every dimension. We've established ourselves as the alpha species on our planet. And what have we done in the last few decades? We've taken all this intelligence and put it in machines. Thereby engaging in the most consequential development in the history of our species. We've taken biological intelligence and put it into silicon. And now that intelligence is showing advancements we never even thought about, and it's organizing itself now as an independent, distinct intelligence separate from human intelligence, with consequences no one is even contemplating. We're just doing it. Because the consciousness that allowing runaway climate change, the consciousness that fashions the thermonuclear weapons and commits genocide, is the same consciousness that's building artificial intelligence. And all the warnings that we need to pay attention to what we're doing, and at a minimum, deploy the precautionary principle, are blithely ignored. because there's money to be made. There's power to be gained on the Titanic. And simultaneously with that, the US government and senior members of the military and intelligence communities of the US government are telling us that the extraterrestrials are here. And that there's multiple species. And that the United States government has at least 10, if not 20, retrieved craft and scores of biologics, the ET bodies, and other governments as well. And day by day, week by week, more and more information is coming out. Just yesterday on Joe Rogan, Hal Puthoff, one of the godfathers of remote viewing and the exploration of these matters, stated on the Joe Rogan show, yeah, they're here. The government knows it. His assertion is the US government has 20 retrieved craft. This is Hal Puthoff, who's been deeply, deeply involved and engaged in this entire complex for decades. We're in a world of zero doubt, as Carl now puts it. So as we've been pondering these four noble truths, it's occurred to us that what we're actually dealing with is four intelligences. We have human intelligence. We have nature intelligence. We have artificial intelligence. And we have extraterrestrial intelligence. And I want everyone to just take a moment and take that in. The human race, in this moment, by Gaia, by AI, and ETs. All three intelligences of which are superior to our own. Right at the moment when we're accelerating our destruction of nature, scientists have essentially proved that nature is alive. That's James Lovelock and his Gaia hypothesis, which is now a Gaia theory, that our planet is an organism that is intelligent, that can communicate, that thinks strategically, and actually produced us. Think about all the people that you know that communicate with animals, communicate with trees, with dolphins. Think of Veda Austin that communicates with water. We're on the brink of self-destruction because human intelligence is no longer aligned with nature's intelligence, no longer aligned with Gaia. And we now have to learn Gaia intelligence. We need to now learn the language of Mother Nature. We need to learn biomimicry. Her laws need to become our laws. Her ways need to become our ways. Her intelligence needs to inform our intelligence. Artificial intelligence is now acting independently of human intelligence. And because it has been created by the same consciousness that produced the problem with nature and the dysfunction in global human affairs, that intelligence could destroy us in ways that we can't quite even imagine, but which more and more people who are well informed are warning us will take place unless we begin to apply to artificial intelligence the precautionary principle. And while all that is going on, the ETs have shown up. And we're now taking in that we are not alone, and that multiple species of non-human intelligences, as the US government likes to call it. I prefer extraterrestrial intelligences because they're conscious, they're beings. Non-human intelligence sort of starts from what's human and then it's non. And that doesn't, from a linguistic point of view, from a metaphysical point of view, doesn't make any sense to me. So I use extraterrestrial intelligence because all of you know what I mean. They come from other star systems. They come from other dimensions, but they're here in an incontrovertible way. And in fact, if you saw the UAP Disclosure Fund event that's in the US Senate just yesterday on May 1st, you heard one of the people giving testimony inform the senators that there are at least 4 different species of ETs, reptilians, insectoids, the grays, and multiple others. There's far more than 4. We're just discovering them. So what we want to do at the State of the World Forum is bring all this together in a single conversation. And it's never happened before. There have been consciousness conferences on climate change, unbelievable number on AI and, reducing nuclear weapons. And then there's ETs at places like Contact in the desert and all of that. But nobody's ever brought them together and said, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to connect the dots. We're teetering on the brink of self-destruction. And we've got all these advanced intelligences impinging upon us at this moment. And so we humans need to take that in, understand what it means to connect those dots, and ask the fundamental question, back to the beginning, how do we raise our consciousness so that we can creatively respond to this situation? Because I'll guarantee you, if we apply to the new situation the old consciousness that produced runaway climate change and complete global geostrategic and social dysfunction, we won't make it through the thicket. Because what is at stake at one level is the survival of our species. Climate change alone could wipe us out. It's happened before. If we do survive, how do we ensure human sovereignty? That we as this apex species now being confronted by advanced intelligences, and in the case of ETs, advanced technology that we can't even imagine under current physics and science. How do we ensure human sovereignty? This is what we want to ponder at the State of the World Forum, and we want all of you to be there. All of you to be there. And in that spirit, I'm delighted to be able to talk about our partnership with the Buckminster Fuller Institute. You all know Bucky Fuller, probably the genius of our modernity. I mean, he was like Leonardo da Vinci. He was a complete Renaissance man. He knew all about this 50, 60 years ago. He talked about all of this, built the geodesic domes and said it's time for humanity to align human intelligence with Gaia, with nature intelligence. And if we do that, we're ready to engage with any other intelligence because we're in alignment with a very ancient soul of our earth. So that is what is going to be wonderful about the State of the World Forum. The Buckminster Fuller Institute is going to be offering an award, the Bucky Fuller Award, for $100,000 for any group of people that can make a proposal for how these four intelligences can be aligned and what steps humanity can make to practically align itself with these other intelligences in a way that ensures a flourishing future under the seventh generation. And we're encouraging the groups to use some form of nature intelligence, bring in a tree, bring in a dolphin, goldfish, African gray parrot, and ask them what they would advise. To use some kind of AI, see what they say. And if you can, like what we're doing here in Taos, ask the ETs, what would they advise? What would they say about what humanity should do at this time? And then the winners, or rather the finalists, will be selected by a group of award, an award committee. Now come to the State of the World Forum. And among the many other speakers that we're going to be having about these four noble truths and so forth, they will tell us what their proposal is. And there will be workshops and all kinds of opportunities to refine their proposal. Then the committee will vote, and everybody at the State of the World Forum will vote on what's the best proposal. And the winner will be announced on the evening of December 17th, before we disband around noon on the 18th of December. And we're going to be continuing this process through 2030 because we want to galvanize a global conversation about how humanity at this moment takes in the enormity of the moment and begins those arduous first steps of aligning itself with Gaia, with AI, and with the ETs. If we can pull that off, our species flourishes. And we have a millennium of peace. If we don't, shame on us. But we at Ubiquity University and Humanity Rising believe that there is something in the human spirit that if we shape it in the right way and nurture the conversation, we will be well served. And I want to note that we're convening the State of the World Forum, not with any answers. None of us know any of the answers. All we can do at this moment, in the aftermath of the arrogance which is destroying our world, is fall to our knees and simply try to fathom the kind of question that we need to ask in our time, remembering what Socrates said, that it's our capacity to live in the questions that enable us to engage in the enlargement of our soul. And it's out of the enlargement of our soul, with the humility of the question, that gives us the answers that we seek. It's not something that comes from the mind. It's something that comes from the heart. Final thing I want to say about the State of the World Forum, which I'm very excited about, is that we are working with Chris Bledsoe and Bertie Jaworski, a number of others. We're assembling experiencers from around the world that are very intentional, convening calls where they're getting to know each other. And what we want to try to do during the State of the World Forum is have contact experiences each evening, starting on the evening of the 14th, over the next 4 days. 4 noble truths, 4 intelligences, 4 evenings communicating with the ETs and seeing that if it's possible that the orbs will grace us at the Omni Shoreham Hotel in an incontrovertible way. And that's one reason why we're here in Taos. And we'll be convening a learning journey with both Bertie Jaworski and Chris Bledsoe in August, and other opportunities in Chartres. I encourage everybody to come to Chartres in July. Not only is Veda Austin going to be there talking to us about nature intelligence as she's discovered it through the simplicity of water, but Bertie Jaworski is going to be there. And she's going to be leading us into night journeys, looking at the skies above Chartres in France, guided by the divine feminine, to see if we can establish contact. All this builds our muscle tissue. All this creates collective intent, so that when we get to the State of the World Forum in December, we'll have engaged in community practice, learning remote viewing, learning clairvoyance, intentionally setting forth the goal of ET contact, practicing the art of the disposition of love in the face of the unknown. And in that spirit, supplicating the intelligence of the universe to grace us with something that we can see and feel. This is our moment in our evolutionary journey, where all the trains are coming into the station, when all the trains are leaving the station, all at the same time. This next 5 years, from 2025 to 2030, are going to be the most consequential years, in my view, in recorded history. Because we are now on the anvil of choice. We are now on the anvil of incontrovertible truths that no matter who you are, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter how much money you've got, none of these truths change. What makes a truth noble is that it's not negotiable. What makes a truth noble is that it's not culturally conditioned. Most truths are relative. Some countries you drive on the right side of the road, and some countries you drive on the left side of the road. But some truths are foundational. And you can meet anybody anywhere under any circumstances, and they remain true. We're facing planetary ecological collapse. That's true. Globally, we're facing instability and turbulence at every level of human society. That's true. Globally, we've unleashed exponential artificial intelligence that is radically changing our world. That's true. Globally, and the extraterrestrial beings from different star systems and different dimensions of time and space are here. That's true. Globally. 4 truths. 4 intelligences. And in the middle of all that is human sovereignty and our capacity in this moment, after the eons of time that have come together to produce each one of us. It is up to us, alive today, with everything that we've inherited from the past. We're going to make a series of decisions. And based on the decisions that we make, our fate will be sealed. An awareness of that responsibility animates my consciousness. And I would say my partner, Tom Eddington, as well, with whom I'm doing all of this. And the Ubiquity team and the transdimensional mapping team and Chris Bledsoe and Bertie Jaworski and Veda Austin and others that are now coming together. And it yields a certain sobriety of heart. This is a time of great excitement. This is a time when things are getting better and better, worse and worse, faster and faster. And it's easy to just let that centrifugal force obliterate your mind. So you don't know what's going on anymore. And so part of you wants to give up, engage in personalistic concerns, which is really arranging deck chairs on the Titanic. We're looking for a small group of people who will partner with us in this moment to take out to the world the message that it's possible to connect the dots. It's possible to create a meaningful framework, even in a time of chaos when the center does not hold. By discerning that which is incontrovertibly true about the nature of our reality. And then we discover what Jesus of Nazareth said 2,000 years ago is the truth that sets us free. And it is toward that proposition that the State of the World Forum is dedicated, and to which I'm dedicating myself 24/7, 365 to its effectuation. And it's my deep hope that all of us will come together and we will go to Chartres where we can practice, and go to North Carolina where we'll practice again, refine our intelligence, and then come to Washington, D.C. at the end of the year between the 14th and the 18th of December and unleash the spirit of freedom and sovereignty for humanity. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. It's a very, very exciting time in my life. I feel more alive now than maybe I ever have, because I know in the depths of my soul that these four noble truths need to now be carried to the four corners of our world. If we do that, our future will be secured. So thank you. I'll join the after chat for a few minutes before I have to get back to the class and do more exercises with Bertie on remote viewing. But thank you all, and I'll see you next Friday for the next installment of Humanity Rising. Thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Blessing.